Hello, hello, my darling sweet friends, and welcome to this beautiful edition of Braveheart Open Mind Live. I am wildly excited to be spending this time with you right now because, my darling sweet friend, we are going to be spending some time today answering a question that one of my dearest friends asked me when we were at lunch today. And as soon as she asked it, I could feel in the universe that this was a big question, and I wasn't really sure how to answer it. And before I get too far into it, let's identify exactly what that question is. We were talking about my business, and, well, we were talking about life, and also, she asked me, all of a sudden, out of the blue, like, I need to know, how did you do it? And I was like, do what? She's like, with your business, how did you do it? And I was like, well, I mean, I knew that I needed to leave teaching. My brain jumped into straight, like, chronological mode with it. Like, I knew that I wanted to leave teaching, da-da-da-da-da. And she's like, no. I know that already. I know all of that. How did you keep going? Like, how did you look at your business when it wasn't succeeding and keep going to the point at which it was succeeding? And I was like, that's a really deep question. And after she and I chatted about it on my drive home, I did that thing that your brain sometimes does when it's like, did I answer that question well enough? Like, when you listen back to the conversation that you just had, your mind is just like, did I answer it right? Did I speak well enough on it? And as I was thinking about it on my drive home, I knew that it needed to be a live stream. I felt it in my heart that there was more to this question of how did I do it than I could cover in 30 seconds over lunch with a friend. And so I thought that I would hop on with you and talk about how I did it, because I have been through emotional abuse with past partners. I have experienced much trauma in teaching, and if you want more examples of what that entails, I have a video on how teaching is trauma and is traumatic. So you can click over to that. And I started a business knowing that I wanted to help people, and I've stuck with it. We are about to enter year 4, or I guess we are entering year 4. We've already entered it. And I'm still in it. We're still doing it. And this is so important, not just for me to answer for myself, but for you to hear too, because we've all experienced past trauma. We have all had a dream in our heart that we wish that we could birth into the universe. And when we can take a look at how someone has done it, how someone has kept going, our mind receives the information that we need, that we can internalize for you to keep going. That's why storytelling is such an important part of feeling deep feelings. That's why Marley and Me makes us cry, right? Because we can put ourselves in those shoes and see how that can work for us, or how we can apply that same information in our lives. So if I can tell you today how I've kept going. Are we back? I think we're back. Oh goodness. Okay, yay. Sorry about that, you guys. Evidently, I was not connected to Wi-Fi, so thanks for sticking with me through that. Hopefully, we are right back on track. Where was I? I was talking about how important this is, because if I can relay to you how I kept going, perhaps that opens a window through which you can see how you can keep going. Because it definitely wasn't always easy, although it's gotten easier. And it requires a lot of feeling your feelings, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start with the basics. How do I keep going through things like experiencing trauma and abuse and making my business a success? The very first step for me was asking myself how I can be less mean to myself. That was my goal when I was exiting an abusive relationship and entering into a time in which I knew desperately something needed to change. And sometimes those are the easier times in your life to know that you need to do something. Because if something has become so problematic that you are telling yourself you hate yourself every day in your head, or just ripping yourself apart when you look in the mirror, it can be easier to look at that incredible cruelty that's coming from your own self and know that something has to change. And for me, that's where this whole journey started, was knowing that I wanted not even to be nicer to myself, but to be less mean to myself. That was my first official self-development goal in life, was to be less mean. And there's a lot of discussion in the coaching world about being motivated towards something versus being motivated away from something. At the very beginning, I was definitely motivated away from feeling mean to myself and from feeling hurt by my own self-cruelty. And if you want more information about away motivation versus towards motivation, drop a comment down below and I can do a video on it later. But suffice it to say, for now, my primary motivation at the very beginning was to not be mean to myself anymore. And continuously asking myself, how can I manage that? What can I do to be nicer to myself? Can lead you into a place of problem solving. Because when you notice a problem, when there is something to be motivated away from, putting yourself in problem solving mode by asking yourself those types of questions can be incredibly helpful, which led me to the books that I needed to read, which led me to asking people for help eventually. But at the very beginning, I wasn't ready to ask people for help yet. So, identifying in your life where... Oh, I got a little thumbs up, but I didn't see who it was from. Hi, whoever's watching. Thanks for joining me. Feel free to say hi so I know who you are. So when you are first looking to improve yourself or improve your life or start that juicy dream that you know that you have for yourself, asking yourself, how can I have less and less of what I don't want and have more and more of what I do want, can be incredibly valuable and incredibly helpful on your journey. And when we leave the realm of being motivated away from wanting to hate myself less, into the world of how I can love myself more, once we shift into that towards motivation, so many more possibilities open up for you. And that's essentially where I am sitting right now when my friend asked me, how did you do it? It's continuously returning and returning to how I can develop my own self-relationship. And that is the foundation that Braveheart Open Mind is created upon. Changing your relationship with yourself changes everything else in your life. It changes your career. It changes what you think you're capable of. It changes what you view as a legitimate possibility for you. And that is wild. When you can see beyond limitations that you had previously set for yourself into a world where more is possible for you, your whole life lights up. Everything becomes a possibility. And what it stems from is improving your relationship with yourself, is improving how you are for who you are. And what I mean by that is the more I focus on who I get to be for myself, who I desire for me, the better and better I get at knowing how I want to be for other people, who I want to be for other people, how I want to be in my business as a business owner. It is what led me to 2 days ago announcing that every single piece of content that I create, every retreat or meditation or experience that I lead people through live, will be posted for free on YouTube for people to watch the replays. I'm calling it my free replay policy. And that was a really scary thing for me to announce because it can lead to questions like, how are you going to make money then, Kayla, if all of your shit is free? Great question. My mom asked me that question. And essentially what it requires me to do is to rely on the goodness of humanity. Rely on the idea that people are going to see what I'm doing, providing self-love resources that everyone can access and want to get in on that movement. And that announcement, that vulnerability for me and my business wouldn't be possible without me continuously asking myself who I want to be for me. How can I be fearlessly vulnerable for myself? And maybe fearlessly is not the right word. Let me correct myself, because fear is always going to be a part of who I am and what I do, because fear is valid and natural, and we're always going to walk hand in hand, my fear for me, or my fear and me. What I mean is, how do I harmonize with my fear, right? How do I continue to deepen my relationship with my own fear to the degree that I can get my fearful side excited for the projects that I have planned? How can you improve your relationship with yourself so that you can walk hand in hand with your own fear into uncharted territories, unexplored waters of your dreams, right? The more you can settle into asking yourself, who do I want to be for me? How do I want to be for me today? What will get me closer and closer to the me that I ultimately desire to be? And if you can continue to ask yourself those questions, you will continue to see progress. You will continue to be devoted every single day to yourself, to your family, to that dream that you're trying to create, to switching career paths, to opening yourself up to everything that's possible for you. Everything that's possible for you. And all it comes down to, so my ultimate answer to my friend's question of how did I keep going, it all comes down to coming back to yourself, coming home to who you are and who you desire to be if you're not already that. And asking yourself, how can you get there if you're not already that person you desire to be? How? What can I do? What does that look like? Asking any of those questions of yourself puts your sweet mind into problem-solving mode, and you are automatically more and more able to create the life that you desire, to create the you that you desire to be. And that is wildly life-changing, because what it does is it shows everyone around you that they can be themselves too, that it is a worthwhile pursuit to get to know and love yourself to the degree to which you are wildly fucking in love with who you are. And that's so exciting, because when people see you doing that for yourself, then they know that it's okay for them to do that for themselves. And let us be clear, don't do this for other people. Do this for you. Because even my mom said the other night that she was her own worst critic. We're all our own worst critics. And the degree to which you desire to stop being your own worst critic can be the degree to which you desire to be your own best friend. How much do you wish that you were kinder to yourself? How much deep in your heart do you wish that you were nicer to yourself or less mean? Because the immensity of that wish is equal to the immensity of how amazing you can feel when you continue to push yourself in that direction by asking, who do I want to be? How do I desire to be? How can I get there? What can I be doing to push myself to that point? And if you keep asking yourself those questions, nothing can stop you. Because when you keep asking yourself those questions, you get to be your own best friend. You get to be wildly in love with who you are. And that is fucking magic. No one can take that from you because you are you. And when you can feel that high, when you can feel that delicious, glittery goodness that comes from you being you, for you, by you, created to make the life that you desire to create, you're unfucking stoppable. And that makes me wildly excited for you. Wildly excited for you. It creates such a sense of peace in my body to talk about you being you for you. Because you're the one who spends the most time with you. Like, my God, you spend all day with yourself. You spend all night with yourself in your dreams. You spend the most time with you. So what's it going to take for you to be you for you? Ask yourself, what will it take? How can you get there? And listen for your own intuitive answers. Journal in a notebook. Open up a voice notes app on your phone and just talk it out with yourself. What will it take for you to get there? And listen for the answers. And then comes the juicy part of actually taking action on those answers, right? Then comes the juicy part of, okay, well, how do I execute this? Like, how do I get myself to the point where I am ready to take action? And that is reason number one why I love the Peace Talks method. If you've been joining me on Tuesdays for Peace Talks Tuesdays, how you can be in harmony with your inner conflict of like, well, I want to, but I'm scared, but I want to, but I don't want to. Go back and watch some of those videos to see how you can engage in inner peace, or meet me back here next Tuesday and we'll walk through it together live. The other way that you can help lead yourself to a place of actually taking action is to ask what'll make it simple. What will make taking action the most simplest for you? And then once you can cut through all of your like perfectionism or like intense strategic logic, once we can say goodbye to that and get to what is the most simple way to take action, then do the Peace Dogs method on that and take action, right? Keep it simple and keep it about you. Because in a society that tells us that we're selfish for wanting days off or engaging in self-care, in a society that tells us that advocating for ourselves is somehow selfish, daring to be you for you is wildly revolutionary, and it totally turns me on, and I fucking love that for you. Because it's the key to changing your whole life in whatever ways you desire to change your life. Changing your relationship with yourself changes everything. And that is how Braveheart Open Mind is here to serve you. So if that lights your soul on fire, please be sure to subscribe to the Braveheart Open Mind YouTube channel. I'll pop a link for it below, or if you're watching this replay on YouTube, please subscribe. You know the button is there, and we're here to help you. Maybe that could be a jingle, or it's just me being a dork. I'm fine with either. Because every single thing that Braveheart Open Mind creates will be a part of our free replay policy. So every single replay of every single live event is going to go up for free on YouTube so that you can take advantage of it. And so that every single human, no matter their financial means or capacity, can love themselves more deeply and more richly and more fully. And that's fucking wild. I'm going to have to bleep a lot of F-bombs, I think, out of this live to put it up on YouTube. That's okay. It's fine. It'll be my first time bleeping myself, so that'll be fun. And if that idea sets your soul on fire, all of this information being accessible to all human beings at all times on YouTube, please feel free to join the Braveheart Open Mind Patreon, because that is how this whole loving fucking chain of events on YouTube for everyone to be available for them is going to work, is us doing it together. If you have at least $5 of financial means and $5 a month of financial means, and you love the idea of making self-love accessible for all humans, no matter their financial capacity, I totally invite you to join the Braveheart Open Mind Patreon, because it's going to be awesome. And I'm so delighted to be getting to know my patrons so much better. We're going to have a wild fucking time. It's going to be a really great ride. And I would be delighted to be on that ride together with you, my darling sweet friend. And if you don't have the means to contribute to Patreon, like, you're the reason why we're gonna have a Patreon. You're the reason why everything is going to go through the free replay policy and be on YouTube is for you. If you can't afford to join Patreon, we're doing this for you, so that you have access to coaching resources, so that you have access to loving yourself more deeply and richly and fully. And I'm hyped for you. Yes. So, okay, that is, how am I doing it? How did I do it? How did I stick with starting a business and seeing it through and succeeding with it and healing all of my old ish. That is it. Those are my answers for you. And if you want to get more into like nuance and strategy, like, stick with Braveheart Open Mind. We're going to be getting way more into it. There are going to be so many more resources available for free and via Patreon, and you're going to freaking love it. I'm going to blow your minds. Don't you worry. It's going to be awesome. All right. From my heart to yours, my darling sweet friend, I am sending you so much love. Love, love, love. And I hope that you have just the most amazing day. Okay, I love you. Goodbye.